Hey there, Science2 kiddos. I'm going to use this video to walk you through the Coriolis effect activity. First thing you're going to need is a piece of scrap paper. I just got like one-sided printer paper to use. You can rip out a page from your notebook if you need to. You're going to need to draw a circle, and so you can either do that using a compass if you have one, or just find a lid to something that you can trace. I'm going to use the lid just because that's going to be a little bit faster. This is going to represent one hemisphere of planet Earth. We're going to start with the northern hemisphere. The advantage of using compasses, you know where the center is, so I'm just going to kind of take my best guess, eyeball it. I'm going to say that's the center right there. Okay, now the challenge is going to be to draw a rough map of the northern hemisphere. I'll have an image for you to refer to, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm going to get kind of the back half of Africa here, indent there. Again, this does not need to be perfect. Just label that as Africa, northern part of it, Europe. So we've got Spain and France and Germany. Moving up, anyway, point is we get to near the center. We work our way around towards the sort of top part. That's going to be the edge of Russia. And so then we'll work our way in through the Mediterranean. You've got Italy kind of sticking out here. And then straight down towards Greece. Then you've got the Middle East. India is going to be poking out over there. And then we're getting over to Indonesia and Koreas and China and so on. Anyway, just call that Eurasia. Doesn't have to be perfect, just somewhat distinguishable as a landmass. Over here, closer to the middle, we're going to have Iceland or Greenland. I keep mixing those up. But the point is kind of connecting to this one over here right above that line. You've got Alaska here. I'm just going to kind of go off. It's got that little kind of jutting out there. Anyway, and then the Americas kind of come out here. Here's Baja and Mexico, then comes kind of straight down and connects to South America here. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect. Point is to round out, and there's Florida sticking out and kind of coming up to the East Coast here. So, just try to get your spacing right if you can. You can tell I'm already off a little bit here. So I just connected over there. Okay. And so we'll just label this as North America. So those are the three main continents in the northern hemisphere. So let's label this as the northern hemisphere of Earth. Now, a couple things that we're going to need to label, and it might be good to maybe use a different colored pen if that's something that's available to you, or a marker. I think I'm just going to stick with blue. So it has a counterclockwise rotation. So let's add arrows to represent that, right? That means that this part, this hemisphere of Earth, if you were viewing Earth from this top view, it would be spinning this way. And I'll draw that in the middle too. So you've got arrows kind of going around like that. That's the rotation. And again, this kind of makes sense, right? Let's label, we know that this is California here. We think of that as the west coast. And over here, right, here's Florida, part of what we consider the East Coast. And hopefully you're familiar with the concept that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, right? Which means that we're rotating towards the east, right? And so that makes sense then that we're rotating around like that. Okay, so to simulate the Coriolis effect, you're going to have to cut this out. So just grab some scissors or a knife if you need to press down on the table, but cut out your circle. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. We just want to be able to rotate it. Okay. Next, you're going to need a push pin. You have push pins in your science kit, so if you got that little box, you can search in there for those, or you might have some at home on a tack board somewhere. If you really don't have any push pins at all, you can use the sharp end of your compass or a needle, or even just another pen or pencil or something like that. But the point is that we want to stick that in the center, and then you should be able to use your same fingers to make it rotate, right? So there's our, I know it's hard to see in the video, but there's my northern hemisphere rotating around, following the arrows. To simulate the Coriolis effect, I want you to get a marker or something of a slightly different color, and this is going to be the tricky part. What you need to do is pick a target. So here's my lid down here. And so I'm going to draw a straight line towards that. So I know I'm going down towards the lid. But as I'm doing that, I'm going to rotate the northern hemisphere. So this is what we call the Coriolis effect, where I'm going to move my marker in a straight line. So I'm just going to go whoosh, like that. But at the same time, I'm going to rotate this. And I'll do it slowly just to really emphasize. So here we go. I don't have to press too hard with the marker. So again, note that I'm going in a straight line with my marker towards my cap there. And there you go. Now that doesn't look very exciting, but that's the Coriolis effect. The fact that I drew a straight line from the center towards this little cap here, and yet due to the rotation of the Earth, it was pushed off in one direction. And hopefully we're in agreement that it was deflected to the right. And so the last thing to emphasize with this is this explains why hurricanes that occur in the northern hemisphere always rotate in the same direction, which is counterclockwise, because they're sort of starting with air here, and so you always see them forming like this, right? We get a lot of hurricanes hitting Florida and Louisiana coast, and so they always have that counterclockwise rotation. You can label that as a hurricane. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing for the southern hemisphere really quickly here. Maybe we'll make this a separate video.